All right, folks. Let's actually get pretty quickly to the shout out. Shout out, shout out, shout out.
My brain is still in recovery mode.
Shout out, shout out.
It's nice to hear this over the Bell House speakers on Friday.
That was an incredible, by the way, incredible show at the Bell House. Major, that felt like just such an incredible accomplishment, especially because there are honestly so many new people there.
Dial of ideas. I like talking about ideas. High level. The exchange of ideas.
Shout out, shout out.
High level. Still in recovery mode.
Looking forward to sharing more ideas.
We were all actually saying that we liked Weinstein less than Rubin earlier in our
100%.
100%. That guy's a shithead. All right.
Dave Rubin's way funnier unintentionally.
Definitely. And actually, you know what? Have that cover ready for when we go to the pitch, if you wouldn't mind. Folks, our friend Abby Martin, who's been on the show, she'll be back on the show again soon, and she will also be with us April 3rd at the North Door in Austin, Texas. Grab your tickets. TMBS Live, April 3rd, Austin, Texas. She's a journalist and commentator and analyst. You're very familiar with her work, I'm sure. Her Empire Files work is some of the most courageous and important journalism in the game on the nature of U.S. foreign policy and the bloodshed and cruelty that it creates across the globe. She's done a lot of work on the barbarism of what Israel does to Gaza, the absolute obscenity of Israeli policy in the Middle East, the mass killings, the suppression, the denial of basic necessities of life. A couple of years ago, she was invited to speak at the University of Georgia, at the Georgia Southern University, excuse me. And she refused to sign a pledge before speaking that basically pledged that she would not engage in boycott, divestment of sanctions against Israel. These are state prohibitions that have been passing on state level across the country, banning people, and basically it prohibits contracts of exceeding $1,000 of any company or individual that engage in a boycott of Israel. Martin said she was supposed to be paid $1,000. I'm quoting now from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. So now she, of course, was denied the right to speak because of this. And she is filing a lawsuit on free speech grounds in association with CARE. And again, nothing but solidarity support for her. Let's play a clip of her at the press conference suing the state of Georgia over the Israel Loyalty Oath law.
In my personal life, I am politically active against issues of racism and injustice. This is of great moral importance to me. To be made to choose between my career that I have built my entire adult life around and my political convictions, which are of invaluable importance to me, and a right supposed to be protected by the U.S. Constitution, is an outrage and is unacceptable to me as an American citizen. I want to reiterate, situations of oppression, racism, injustice, and violations of international law that are funded by my tax dollars is something I care very deeply about. They are ideals that I've centered my entire life around. Like anyone who has deeply held moral or spiritual beliefs, I should not be expected to throw them away in order to simply work in the state of Georgia. Apart from my right to free speech, it was my right to peaceful protest, my right to boycott, and not just mine, but the constitutional rights of every independent contractor of all types who want to work in this state cannot be held with such disregard by the Georgia legal system. My aim here is...
So nothing but props to Abby. It's incredible. We support her. We look forward to talking with her more about it. This is something that threatens everybody's right. And more broadly, I'll say, look, the left needs to get back on board with really robust free speech across the board, both in the formal legal sense, but also in the informal sense as well. We need to recognize that that opposition to free speech ultimately, whether it is in a corporate context an academic context, or of course, most especially in a formal legal context, which this Israel loyalty oath brings into play, which makes it far more serious, but all on a continuum. Well, ultimately, first of all, we have confidence in the power of what we're putting forward and we can win. Secondly, it's always going to hurt and undermine the left. Look at how rightly going after social media's empowerment of racism and Nazism and fascism, which absolutely needed to happen, which turned into a whole other form of unaccountable, secretive control and bureaucracy, hurting all independent media. We need to have something that is structural and strategic. And actions like this and the enormous courage that Abby's putting out here, in addition to her indispensable work on Israel-Palestine, is exactly the right spirit. So shout out to her. You just watched a Michael Brooks show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.